going to preview the 5 seed San Diego State versus 6 seed Creighton in the Elite 8 matchup. And whoever wins is going to be a 5 seed or worse to make the Final Four. That's just crazy to me. But it just happens the way it is on a draw. And San Diego State won the Mountain West regular season title as well as the tournament title. Creighton didn't win the Big East nor the Big East title, but they're a solid team. And they're healthier and they're playing a lot better now. They didn't play that great against Xavier in the semifinal. Just a heads up. But for Creighton, what's some players to keep an eye on? It's the following. Ryan Cockabrenner, 15.9 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game. .2.1 blocks per game, 0.6 steals per game, 1.8 fouls per game, 1.5 turnovers per game, 6 for 18 on threes, 79.3% on free throws. So he's not your typical big that fouls. Getting to the foul line, he'll miss. Trey Alexander is another player. 13.7 points per game, 4.2 rebounds per game, 2.6 assists per game, 1.5 turnovers per game, 1.7 fouls per game, 1.1 steals per game, 42.3% from the 3-point line, 82.4% from the free throw line. Baylor Shireman is the next player to keep an eye on. 12.8 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists per game, 2.2 turnovers per game, 2.2 fouls per game, 1 steal per game, 36.6% from 3, 82.9% from the free throw line. Brian Nemhard, 12.3 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 4.9 assists per game, 2.1 turnovers per game, 0.7 steals per game, 1.9 fouls per game, and 36.3% from 3, 86.9% on free throws. Arthur Kalama, 11.8 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 0.6 blocks per game, 2.1 turnovers per game, 2.2 fouls per game, 31% from 3 on 129 attempts, and 73.5% from the free throw line. Frederick King, 3.5 points per game, 2.5 rebounds per game, 1.3 fouls per game, 0.8 blocks per game, 62.5% on free throw line, but that's on 32 attempts. Gotta keep that in mind. Francisco Farabello, 3.1 points per game, 30.3% on threes on 89 attempts, 3 for 6 on free throws, 0.6 fouls per game, 0.6 turnovers per game. Mason Miller, which I know he has not played since that. He actually played in that Princeton game, so, but not a lot of minutes. 2.3 points per game, 0.6 fouls per game, 20 for 53 on threes, which is 37.7%, 9 for 60 on free throws, which is 56.3%. Now, Sharif Mitchell, that's the last one I'm going to mention here. .8 points per game, first of all. 0.9 fouls per game. 34.5% on threes, but that's on 29 attempts. 63.6% from the free throw line, but that's on 11 attempts. So that's just most of the guys you got to keep an eye on for Creighton. And I would say don't foul Creighton as much as you can. Don't make no free throws. Well, I'm going to see if there's any injury. I know Creighton only has just like missing Mettler thing, but the thing is, it's just questionable. I'm checking. It's just questionable with the lag. So, but he played last game. Now San Diego State. Nothing. So they're healthy as they could be. Where are some players to keep an eye on? Matt Bradley is the only double-digit scorer. 20.8 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, 2.1 assists per game, 0.7 steals per game. But they are a good defensive team. 1.5 fouls per game, 1.4 turnovers per game, 36.1% from three though. That's on an 80.2% from the free throw line. So really good numbers right there. Now, Darion Trammell is another player, 9.8 points per game. I know he's not a double-digit scorer, but he's pretty close. I mean, 2.3 rebounds per game, 3.1 assists per game, 1.3 steals per game, 1.6 turns per game, 1.6 fouls per game, 31.8% from three on 148 attempts, same for 100 on free throws. So Lamont Butler, 8.5 points per game, 2.7 rebounds per game, 3.4 assists per game, 1.5 steals per game, 2 turns per game, 2.8 fouls per game, 72.3% at the free throw line, 31.8% from three. Now, Jaden Ledee is the best big guy for San Diego State. 7.9 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game. He's not a shot blocker. 1.9 fouls per game, 1 turnover per game, meaning 0.4 blocks per game. 0 for 9 on threes. Don't expect him to shoot. 75.9% from the free throw line. So, Micah Parrish, 7.9 points per game, 3.6 rebounds per game, 47 for 126 on threes, which is 37.3%, 78.6% at the free throw line, 0.8 steals per game, 2 fouls per game, 1.1 turnovers per game. Keyshawn Johnson is another player, 7 points per game, 5 rebounds per game. .4 fouls per game, 0.9 turnovers per game, and 9 for 39 on threes, which is 23.1%. 63% on its free throw line on 81 attempts. That's all the numbers you need to know. Adam Seco, 6.2 points per game. One foul per game, 0.7 turnovers per game. 78.1% at the free throw line on 32 attempts, and 46.1% from the three-point line on 115 attempts. Nathan Mensah is another player to keep an eye on. 6.1 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, 2 turnovers per game, 0.7 steals per game, but 1.7 blocks per game. That's the most on the team. 1 turnover per game, 1 for 2 on threes, 64% on the free throw line on 86 attempts. That's all the numbers you need to know. And one last player to keep an eye on is Agut Arop. A-G-U-E-K. However you pronounce that, I apologize if I butchered that first name. 4.5 points per game, 2.9 rebounds per game, 1.6 blocks per game, 0.7 steals per game, 1.9 turnovers per game, 1.9 fouls per game, 1 for 4 on threes, 19 for 28 on free throws, which is 67.9%. I will say both these teams are good defensively. You got to make the other team uncomfortable. You got to limit your foul trouble. You got to get to the free throw line while eliminating that on the defensive side of the ball and make your free throws count. You got to take care of the ball so you can get some points off turnovers, which you want to limit those as much as possible, as well as the second chance points and bench points and transition, fast break. You got to get all those as well, but you got to limit all those. And points in the paint too. You got to get some, but you got to limit. You got to make some threes. And of course you want to limit that as much as possible. So you got to come out with energy in this game. That's obvious. And you have to have that fire and competitiveness, and you can't be intimidated by the other team. It's the truth here. Both of you made this far, so there's no need. And a lot of teams didn't make it this far. I mean, look at Alabama, for example. Look at Houston. That's just naming two teams. And our 1 seeds, Kansas, Purdue. Of course, you got to make adjustments on the fly as well. So that's pretty much all you need to know about this game. And of course, there might be more keys that I did not list, but that's besides the point. You get the main message on which players should I really keep an eye on this game. Anyways, if you like this content, like and subscribe, and see you guys later. 500 subscribers, we're on the road to it. Let's go.